Business Takeout presents The Healthy Entrepreneur with Maxine Choy.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Healthy Entrepreneur Show, brought to you by Business Takeout. My name is Maxine. I'm your host, and tonight I have the beautiful Victoria Morgan. Victoria A. Morgan, let's just correct that. Yes, and Victoria is actually, you know what? That's not Victoria's name on there. However, here we go. So Victoria, you are a pastor, a purpose litigator, author, leadership expert, podcaster, and CEO of Women Emerge. I mean, you are wearing a ton of hats, and I love it because we're going to talk about the roles that you play and how you got to it, where it's leading you, and how you can help to empower women to be leaders. And in honor of International Women's Day, I just want to say happy International Women's Day to you and to all the ladies who are watching this podcast today. And as we celebrate this day where we are just born leaders, we're born to be vibrant and strong and just be bold, to take hold and take charge of our lives. So I want to welcome you, Victoria, to the show. And before I begin, I want to just let everybody know that this show is brought to you by Business Takeout. Business Takeout is a social enterprise, a nonprofit that provides business education and resources such as business blogs, podcast shows, and other events. Their mission is to increase Black wealth and empower our community. So please be sure to follow Business Takeout on all social media handles, which is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, to find out more about this podcast and others that they have as well. So Victoria, welcome to the show. Tell us about who you are so we can get started.
Hi, Maxine. Thank you so much for having me. And happy International Women's Day to all the wonderful women out there, the ones who have gone before us, the ones who are paving the way, the ones who have set the bar for us. Happy International Women's Day. Thank you so much for having me. Oh, that's
absolutely. Listen, you know what? You have to break the ice somehow, right? I mean,
yes.
When it's so funny, just now, for the audience, Victoria and I realized that we actually did a program together and we didn't even know that. Yeah. And this is actually my first time speaking with you, and I'm going to be learning some things as well. I find you extremely enlightening. I find you to be so calm in storms. Like you have that demeanor about you. And maybe it's a little bit about just the way that you feel so passionate about what you do. And I'm going to read something that I actually got from your website. It says, whether in corporate business or in ministry, I believe that God has called me to be your purpose litigator, to equip you with tools for your next level. So let's talk about purpose litigator.
Yes, let me just give you my introduction. I am Victoria A. Morgan, as you rightfully introduced, and I am the pastor of two ministries, one in Toronto called Redemption Gathering Church, and the other in Shelburne, Redemption Gathering Shelburne. And I am the author of the book, Dream, Destiny Fulfilled by Grace. And I'm a mother of three boys. I'm a lawyer. I also a business coach, a leadership coach. I love to call myself the purpose litigator. And that term came about because I thought to myself, when we are at the place where we want to know what our purpose is, and the number one question that majority of people ask is, what is my purpose? What am I here for? Many of us do not know what our purpose is. We haven't reached the place where we identify what we are here for, what we are here to do. And I said to myself, who will speak for those people, for those men and women who aren't clear on what their purpose is. Who's your voice, right? Who's going to push you into that place? Who's going to speak to you? Who's going to speak destiny in you, purpose in you, upliftment and encouragement in you? So I said to myself, I don't just want to be a litigator in the courtroom. I also want to litigate for your purpose. I want to help you get to that point where you can say, you know what? I'm doing what God has called me to do. I'm living the life that I'm here to live. That's how I think about purpose litigator.
You know what? I totally get it now. It makes sense because you're not just litigating and in the legal aspect, you're doing it more for the woman to help them find their purpose. And I like the fact that when you said a lot of people don't know what their purpose is. And I was there. And sometimes I even wonder if I do know. I think I know. If you ask me what my purpose is, I can tell you, but it's so plain and simple. And I think a lot of people believe that when we say, what is your purpose? We're supposed to come up with something grandeur and elaborate, but it could be as simple as to inspire people to live healthy.
To inspire people to live healthy, exactly.
That's it.
I teach my clients the way to find your purpose. Sometimes look at the things that you are good at.
Mm-hmm.
What is that thing that you can do with your eyes closed?
That's your purpose.
I always say, look at the jobs that you've done in your life and then put it together, and there's always a little sweet spot. Right in that sweet spot, you'll discover that there's some things that I'm really good at.
Yes.
And another thing I always say, go back to your childhood days. Think about when you were ages 4 to 10, there was something that you wanted to do as a child. And when
Interesting.
and there's so many studies on it. And when you go back and you kind of take a look into yourself and think, what exactly did I want to be as a child? You realize that is exactly what your purpose in life is. And sometimes what I'll say again is your career doesn't necessarily mean that's your purpose.
Oh, no.
Your career,
trust me.
Yeah, can be.
Don't we know that?
Yeah, it can be that step towards your purpose. Your career gives you the tools, it gives you the skills, it gives you all the qualities and the abilities and the tools that you need to know
prepare you.
Purpose.
Prepare you. That is so true, because I remember when there was a point in my life when I was working in the corporate world. And at the time I was like, what am I here for? What is my purpose? And it never came to me because I just thought maybe I just need to get another job. And I think it wasn't until, oh my goodness, many years later years, where it took somebody to look at me and say to me, because they saw what I was doing. And I mean, just a quick story. I found like the job leading you to things. It's the job that leads you to your purpose. So I happened to get a job at a place where at lunchtime I was able to go out and enjoy the outdoors. Yeah. There was a path and there was like there was a certain thing about that place that made me say, okay, let me just do the thing that I love, and that's to take care of myself. So I'd go jogging on my lunch hour or go to the park and work out. People started following me, and next thing you know, I had this group of people who were like flocking to me to help them to maintain their fitness. And long story short, it took one person to look at me one day, because everybody was coming to me, not just for lunchtime, but for other things like, Maxine, I want to lose weight. And I'm like, I don't know, just eat this and eat that. And the person just looked at me and said, what are you doing here? Just before a boardroom meeting that I was leading. She says, what are you doing here? And I'm like, what do you mean? And she says, you don't belong here. And I'm like, what? She says, you belong somewhere else. Your passion is not here. It's with health and wellness and fitness. Yeah. And I was like, So that's so where
there's a connection. I love there's this connection that we have to get to, that spiritual connection. And for you, it's health and wellness. It is spiritual. There's a spiritual connection. It's about the soul. It's about the well-being. It's a holistic approach on your living.
Absolutely, because I think like God just landed me there to
Yeah.
work somewhere where it gave me the opportunity to do that, and it led me to that. Because I think if I was still downtown, there's no place for that. There's no
Right.
outdoors downtown, right? This place had a park right, we can overlook it from the building, right? So yeah, like definitely made a difference with that. And we were talking backstage when we were talking about like you said you had so many titles. I think it's wonderful because your title, one of those will lead you to something that is going to make you see what your purpose is or even just your leadership abilities,
Yeah,
right?
because even in the way my leadership skills developed, it's uncanny. It's not real at all. And I mean, being the founding pastor of two churches, my God, I'm leading people. And I
Yeah.
never thought that would ever be a thing. But that transpired because to be an effective leader, you have to first be able to be a servant,
Yes.
right?
Yes, you
So
do.
there were lots of times when I served at my food pantry. I volunteered when I was in law school. I volunteered for 3 years serving the community, right? So I was serving. I served my church. I served my church leaders. I worked, faithfully at a job for an employer. So that was serving, and that allowed me to develop and to see what it is to be on the other side, right? How
Right.
how am I going to be effective and to lead a team? Because I was in the position where there was a leader. How was that leader leading me? Were the qualities what a leader should have? So in that way, it helped me to develop and see what I didn't like and to educate myself and to learn. So when I was thrust into this position of starting the church and growing the church, I was somewhat a leader as an entrepreneur as well,
Yes.
right? Because I had the business hub, I was doing business consulting for many years. So I was leading a team, I had employees, and I was in a leadership role. But many times when we're entrepreneurs, we don't see ourselves as leaders,
Yeah.
we just see ourselves as entrepreneurs. But
Yes.
if you are an entrepreneur and you somewhat, you're running your business, and even if you're sending out your order to Fiverr and you don't have a full blown team, you are still a leader because that individual on Fiverr or wherever, they need to know how to get your services done. So you, as a leader, you have to be able to communicate effectively,
Mm-hmm. For sure. Absolutely.
right? And you have to learn how to delegate. Many times as entrepreneurs, seeing that this is about entrepreneurship as well,
Yes.
as entrepreneurs, many times our businesses don't expand. Our businesses don't
Mm.
as a one-man show, one-woman show. Reason being, we do not know how to delegate,
Oh. Mm-hmm.
right?
Speak, girl.
We
Yeah.
don't know how to delegate. We don't know how to
Absolutely.
delegate.
We hold on to our thing because it's our baby, and we're not even sure that the person would be able to do it right because this is what we're working on. This is what we know, what we want.
Yeah,
Trust me, I go through the same thing too. There are certain things I need done, and I find it very difficult to hand it off to somebody. So yeah, I totally understand that. Um, so I want to ask you a question about what you do is you try to redefine leadership and by teaching and inspiring, encouraging women to clarify their purpose, embrace their unique and authentic self, so that they can be positioned as influential, prominent leaders in their business, profession, and social cause. So I know that was a long one, but I pretty much the gist of it is that you try to redefine the leadership,
yeah.
right?
I believe leadership should be redefined.
Right, right.
And why I say that is, you know what, as women, today's International Women's Day, so I'm gonna,
Yes,
focus on women.
absolutely. Let's touch on it. Let's touch on it.
As women, the old leadership style no longer works for us.
Oh,
It doesn't work. We have children,
right.
we have families, we are entrepreneurs, we have our side hustle. So the old leadership style doesn't work. We want to be leaders and do that in our on our own terms, in our own
Mm,
way, right? So
wow. Yes.
the old leadership style is that as a woman, you have to, you're not able to sit around the boardroom tables. If you have children, you're somewhat, and you go off for maternity leave, you come back, and your job is kind of iffy shape,
Iffy. Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
These ways of leading people, and when you're leading your team, the old way of leading your team, you're not taking culture into consideration.
Mm,
You're not taking the fact that this woman may have a family and she can't work until
mm-hmm.
9 or 10 p.m. and you're there saying, listen, you've got to work, and you've got to be a part of the team, you've got to be and it doesn't work for us.
No,
It
it
doesn't work.
doesn't.
It doesn't work.
Mm,
And the fact that women had to be so silent, even in ministry, me as a woman being in ministry, it's a big thing. It's different because traditionally it's a male dominated field. And you're told that, listen, as a woman, your job is not to preach or to pastor. Your job is to sit and be pretty. But in today's society, we are redefining that. We're saying, no, listen, I have a voice. As a
mm-hmm.
woman, we have a voice. And we are going to be heard. We're going to be unique. I'm going to be unique. If I want to show up at work, I'm going to show up in my braids. I'm going to show up how I am. You know,
Mm,
diversity, being diverse is important. It's no
very
longer
much.
you're running teams where it's just, there's no diversity in culture, no diversity in personalities, no diversity at all. So we have to redefine that and say, listen, I'm going to be unique. I'm going to be confident. I'm going to be a bold leader. I'm going to dress how I want to dress, and I'm going to feel confident doing it. Right.
Mm.
So when I think
So
about defining leadership, I think about that woman who wants to be confident and who's
yes,
bold and who's unique and who's diverse and
making notes.
and who wants to make an impact and just do the darn thing.
I love it. So bold, confident, unique, and what would you say?
Be bold, confident, and unique.
Unique. Yes, absolutely. I love it. And taking charge.
Yeah. I love
Okay.
to I can preach a Holy Ghost filled sermon on a Sunday morning, and I can go to the boardroom on a Monday and all the
Yeah.
way back just for 6 p.m. for dinner for my kids. Prime example today. I was at the law firm all day today, but I'm here back home by 6:30 p.m. for this interview and to make dinner for my family. So
When you're
that's
done.
modern
Right.
day leadership, right?
So I guess what you try to do is to help women to tap into that, to see where they do have the leadership skills,
Yeah.
and not to feel that they can't because they're feminine or they're women or they have been placed
Yeah.
in this role where they have to to live by because of what society dictates, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
We need to see ourselves as leaders, even as a
Yes, we
mom.
do.
As a mom, we are
Yeah,
leaders, right?
we're leaders.
Yeah.
Can that comment? There was a first comment that came up from someone. I just want to read that. Thank you, Amanda. So thank you. So the one, that long one, if the producers can put that one back. Oh my goodness. Okay. Happy International Women's Day. We pay the prophetess. Morgan continues to be an inspiration for women across the world. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you so much for saying that. Is this a church is this your church?
Yes, that's the church. That's Redemption Gathering.
Nice.
I have no idea who's on the Zoom. But somebody's on there.
Well, you know what? At least they're supporting you. I'm glad that you actually shared it with them. And if anybody's, thank you, Carlene. Definitely, we are leaders. Thank you so much. If anybody's watching this, and please, we do appreciate any support you can to share this video, like and share it anywhere you can, so that we can continue to um, spread this spread this whole podcast and helping entrepreneurs to realize that we as entrepreneurs who are in this realm of trying to become successful, trying to keep everything together and even be a leader. It takes a village, and it does take a lot of working together and helping each other out, and understanding that we're all going through something, or we've all been through something, but we're able to overcome whatever they are just by having faith and believing in ourselves and our abilities. So thank you so much, everyone. Um, what actually brought you to this, to become a litigator and a pastor? Like what was what's your path?
You know what? When I think I was 9 years old, I share that story in my book as well. When I
Okay.
was 9 years old, I had this very close friend, and his mom was a lawyer. And he was coming to school one morning, and he got hit by a car and he passed away. And at 9 years
Oh,
old, I made it a mission of mine to to find the driver who hit him. And the driver didn't stop, so it was a hit and run. And I said to myself, I'm going to find this person who killed him. And because his mom was a lawyer, I got that inspiration.
hmm.
I started to read more. I went to the local library in my city, and I went to the local library and I found every book there was that spoke about being a lawyer.
Wow.
Yeah, so I remember opening one book, and there was this gentleman, and he was a lawyer, and he went to Oxford University in England. So I decided I too am going to go to Oxford. Unfortunately, I didn't make it to Oxford,
You
but I
decided.
went. So ended up going to law school in England because I was determined in my mind to find this person who killed my best friend. And so I grew up with that idea, and I had that idea that I was going to litigate for him, and I was going to bring justice to the person who killed him. And,
Wow.
after time went by, and I realized that's never going to happen.
Hmm.
Because
You never know. You never know.
know. So I'm like, okay, but the idea was birthed from that. And then going through law school, I remember when I was in law school, I was going through a bad relationship. Like I had a relationship that ended, and I decided, you know what, this relationship ended, um, but I wasn't going to end. I wasn't just
Hmm.
going to die. So what I did, I literally took my Bible, and I just started reading my Bible. And I
Mm.
said, I'm not going to die, but I'm going to live
Mm.
and declare the name of God. And I basically started reading my Bible. And in reading my Bible, I encountered God, and I encountered him, and my relationship with him started to grow. And that was while I was in law school. And then while I was in law school, I started to develop this gift where I just knew everything. I knew what was on
Mm.
my exam.
Oh, wow.
I knew the questions being asked on the exams. I knew, I just had this sense of knowing. And I had a friend, and it's a long story. You can cut me off when you're ready.
No, it's okay. I love it. I love it.
But, this girl came up to me in class one day, and she said, I was in prayers, and the Lord said I should come and speak with you. And I'm like, why would you want to do that? So anyways, I started to talk with her, and she broke down and kind of said some things to me, and I took her as a little sister. And I'm like, okay, come with me. And she's like, I have to graduate law school. You don't understand. My parents are depending on me, and there's no way I cannot graduate and get a job. So at that point, there was just something speaking to me, and I was speaking to her and telling her, don't worry, you're going to pass these exams. And I started to
Hmm.
tell her what exactly word was going to be on the exams. So she ended up
Wow.
not she ended up passing her exams. She got into one of the top law firms in England. She finished law school with a first class degree, and the story started to get around that I knew things. And the gift just started to develop, and the prophetic anointing, as they call it, just kind of,
Wow.
and I started growing, and started the women's ministry. So I had this women's ministry where I took women on vacation and just prayed over their lives and poured into their lives. And it just started from there. I ended up with two churches. And just
Wow.
doing the counseling and the uplifting. So I channeled that into into helping people identify their purpose. Because when you sit in front of me, I can tell you what God says you're here for.
Wow.
So with that gift, I'm able to help people. So when someone comes into my leadership group, for example, my leadership club, I'm able to say, okay, this is where you should be, and this is where I believe God wants you to go, and this is the direction. So that's been my track record of just helping people tap into their purpose, walk into their purpose, unlock their full potential, and finding their purpose. That's it.
What a great story. I particularly like that one about Equality wants to know what type of law do you practice?
We're in personal injury.
Which makes sense. Right? Because, well, what the story with your friend who got hit,
Yes,
right?
yes.
It kind of aligned with it, right? Yeah, you're gravitating.
See what I mean? How things just
Yeah,
align.
yeah,
Virtual
exactly.
alignment. That
Yes, for sure. It's so funny because when you were telling me your story, like about when you saw when the fact that your friend was killed, and that kind of propelled you, and it aligned with you. And when people ask me my purpose as well, I say that it was when I was younger. So my, as in like why I got into health and wellness and nutrition and all that stuff, and basically just living a life of just being more mindful of how I take care of myself. um, it was one time I was witnessing my mom and a few of her friends that were in a desperate situation where they had gained a ton of weight, all of them, and they were extremely upset at the fact that they now have to change their diets and be deprived of certain foods, and how it's going to be hard for them. And they were not crying, but they were pretty upset because they were having health issues as well, right? And I remember thinking to myself, I never want that to happen to me. I'm going to read the comments in a second. I never want to be in that position where I'm sitting around saying, oh my goodness, I have to go on a diet. I can't eat salad dressing. I have to eat salad with no salad dressing. I can't eat this and I can't eat that. And I'm like, okay, so what can I do now? Or what should I do going forward so that I don't have to suffer like that? Because to me, it felt like suffering. So
yeah,
yeah, like see where your passion can just like align with the things that you experienced from childhood. Interesting.
it
Uh,
is. Yeah,
let's
yeah.
go to the question. Yeah, exactly.
Just
I mean,
connected.
yeah, I witnessed a friend drowning when I was in Jamaica.
Mhm.
I was 5 or 6 years old, I think. And I don't, when you were telling me that story, I was trying to figure out if something had popped into my head about that.
Mhm.
But no, the only thing that popped into my head was never go on a bridge when it's raining and it's overflowing. That was just, that's all. Because that's what happened. It was a bridge and it was flooding and the water was running underneath it and she was mesmerized by it.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so she,
It
yeah,
looked. Oh,
yeah. So, okay, let's go to the questions to read them off. There's a bunch of them. I don't want to. So, Carlene Lee says, Victoria, have you ever made a wrong decision in terms of
okay.
guiding people to their purpose? Oh, good question.
Yeah. So far, I have not. Glory be to God. Thanks be to God.
Glory, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so far, I
Good.
have not. Everyone who I've guided, they are happy. I've guided people from working in a factory. I don't know if you've ever seen this on my Facebook page. I don't have my Facebook page anymore, but I used to share the feedbacks and share stories about my clients or the people who I work with. And one young lady, she was working in a factory, and
Hmm.
she had 5 children, and she was just at a point where she didn't know what to do, but she knew that she didn't want to work in this car manufacturing company for the rest of her life.
Hmm.
And I said to her, I said, there was something you wanted to do when you were a child. And I start off with that because it gets them to start talking, and it
Oh,
doesn't
yeah. Hmm.
come off as so spooky, right? Otherwise, people can take it as being spooky, right? So I said to her, "What is it that you wanted to be?" But I knew deep down exactly what she was meant to be doing. And she said, "I've always wanted to go into nursing, but I don't think it's possible. And I said, that's exactly where you belong. You belong in nursing because I can see your purpose. I can see your destiny. And you are here, your purpose, you are here to serve. You are here to minister to people on their dying bed in the hospitals and speak life into people, speak hope into people when they're
Mm.
breath or when they've decided to give up. And she's like, oh, really? That's what I always wanted to do, but I just thought it's impossible. I didn't finish high school and stuff. And I said, okay, let's get going. Let's get going.
Yeah.
And she ended up going back to high school. So she went to the adult evening classes. And let me tell you, Maxine, her grades in math and chemistry and all those things were like 90s,
Oh
95.
wow.
And she called me and she's like, Victoria, this is impossible. Even when I was young, I was never getting these marks. And I said, yes, because you're on purpose. You're walking in your purpose.
Walking your purpose. That's exactly it.
And she
Yeah.
finished, she's now a nurse.
So there you go. So you've never been wrong. And you know what? I truly believe that you can, if you have the tools, you can actually, oh, you're welcome, Carlene. You can actually guide people because because you've been through it before and you know what it took for you to find your purpose. So you're able to align them to help them process it. So I can see where it could, and you know what, too, even if they do go along with their purpose, sometimes it's something that they just wanted to do. Maybe they may not even continue it, but they wanted to do it because they were supposed to do it for a certain time,
Yes.
right? Because that could happen.
Yes, that's a great point. And I always say too, what I've noticed, and from my work and just everything that I do, I've noticed that sometimes your purpose can be for a specific period of time, and
Absolutely.
you evolve into
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
another purpose, another area of your purpose.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to the other questions because I have some. So Keisha Gregory says, Happy International Women's Day. What better way to spend Tuesday to, to spend listening to two awesome boss women, amazing boss women. Thank you so much, Keisha. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Lovely. There's another one. Carlene says, it's great when you're passionate about something because that's usually where your purpose is. This is what I've been finding out for myself. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's, it's, I mean, you've heard it before. When you know what your passion is, you wake up every single day and you just love to do it, even if you didn't get paid. That's your passion,
Yeah.
right? Now,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, you should get paid, but like if you didn't get paid for it, you still enjoy doing it.
Still enjoy it.
Shauna G. Morgan says, Happy International Women's Day to both of you. Loving this. Thank you so much, Shauna. Thank you for watching. Amanda again says, Happy International Women's Day. Thank you so much, Amanda. Same to you as well. Thank you. I have a question to ask you. How does, oh, well, I was going to ask you, how does one get to a place where they think or believe we are leaders?
You get to a place where we're all leaders. We're all
Mm, we're all
and
leaders.
and
Yeah.
if we can see ourselves as leaders, and I'm gonna say we're all leaders, and I'm gonna do my little biblical thing, okay? I'm gonna do the pastor thing. We're all
Absolutely.
leaders. We're all leaders because God says you are the head and not the tail. He says you are above and not beneath. So if you if you are above and not beneath, that means you have to be the head of something, and a leader goes before. Right? A
Absolutely.
leader is ahead. A leader has something that gives something to the ones who follow. You give knowledge, you impart wisdom, you impart teachings, you impart skills, you develop someone, you develop your team, you encourage your
Mm,
team, right?
nice. Yes.
You lead your children, you encourage your children, you build them up. So a leader
Yes.
builds up. And if you are the type of person who you're building up your community, you're building up your children, you're encouraging your parent, could be your parents, you're encouraging, you're uplifting a friend, you are a leader. And we have to see ourselves as leaders. And when we see
Absolutely.
ourselves as leaders, be, we will serve more.
Oh my goodness. That is so, so true.
Yeah.
And I'm taking from this, I really am, because oftentimes we lose sight of what we're doing, and we start to doubt ourselves,
Yeah.
and not even realize that we have a lot of leadership skills within us already.
Yeah.
I could attest to that. And for anybody who's watching, it's the same thing too. You might be pondering something, or you might be on the fence about, changing your career, or just changing your life in some way, shape, or form, and you may feel you don't have the skills. But it starts from just like acknowledging that, like, what you're capable of doing, and doing it, and just being, as you say, confident, bold, and unique, taking charge, right? So, wow. Okay. Do you find a lot of women are afraid to take on the leadership role?
They are afraid to identify as a leader, and I don't understand
Mm,
why. Women are afraid to identify as a leader, and partly because of the fact that when you think about leadership, it's intimidating, it's
mm,
scary, it sounds too
yeah.
big for me. It sounds
Yeah,
like
like a big title or something.
a big
Yeah,
title.
yeah.
I'm not ready for that. I'm not there yet. And then they get afraid. But if you look at the fact that um, if you look at the fact that you're already a leader, then you will start believing it. You're going to act like it. You're going to live your life like it, right? And
Mm,
what does a leader look like? A leader look like somebody who serves. A leader looks like somebody who wants to build up their community. A leader looks like love.
mm,
Love. You have to love people. And you
mm-hmm,
have to be able to love them back to life, even when they're not at their best. As a
mm-hmm.
leader, you love them back to life. You love
So
your
another,
children. Yeah,
you have to love people and love yourself, and not operate out of fear, because I think in essence we all operate from two vibrations, love or fear,
yeah,
right? So when you operate out of
fair.
fear or love, it's easy. Everything becomes easy because you love yourself, you love life, you love God, you love family, you love
Yes,
friends,
yes,
and um, it's just easier. But when you operate out of fear, then it holds you back,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Wow.
And when you
Let's
see,
hear the other. Oh,
when you see yourself as a leader, you're not just looking for today. You're looking at how can you leave a legacy for your family? How can you impact
mm,
your generation? How can you impact your culture? Impact the people around you who matters. That's being a
hmm,
leader.
absolutely. Can we have more of the questions? So before we I don't want to forget them all. So Keisha says, that's key, and it's because of society. Women are supposed to be made quiet, timid,
And
shy,
she,
etc.
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of changed a little bit though, but I know exactly what you mean. There's still some women who believe that way. Carlene says, awesome show. Thank you so much, Carlene. Thank you. Keisha, okay, a leader is also a great follower. Moses followed God and lead the people. Absolutely.
Yeah.
A great follower. That's a good point. Eh?
He
I
was
like
he
that.
was a great follower. He was.
Yeah,
He did follow. He was a good leader. He definitely
yes,
was a leader. Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you. And Hope Daly says, she loved this. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Keisha. Um, there's so many comments. I love this. I'm inspired. Oh, I'm so glad you're inspired. Thank you so much. Um, thank you. Um, so you have a course of some sort where it's I think I saw it. It's a course that people can sign up for, and it's a leadership course. Is that what it is?
Yeah. So it's a leadership club. I call it a club because
Okay.
there's two. So I have the first one is how to find your purpose. So those who are at the stage where you haven't quite figured out what your purpose is, that one is available at the Woman Emerge. So it's a course where you can download, and there's like a live chat once a month. Um, you could do the course in about a couple of days. It's up to you, but it's
Right.
guaranteed to be
Hmm.
completed in 3 weeks. It comes with a journal, with quotes and things to get you going. So that's available, and as I said, that's for people who who haven't quite figured out what they want to do. So I go through it with you and tell you what to look for. You write in your journal, and then we get on a Zoom call where if you're still not sure, then I go into the prophetic and help you with that, right? To make sure you're on the right path. Then I have the Purpose Leadership, the Purpose Leaders Club, a Purposeful Leaders Club. So that one is for women who know they're called into leadership roles, women who are CEOs or who are working in corporate Canada, corporate America, women who are ministers. So it's business owners, entrepreneurs. So with that program, that's my baby.
Yeah. Nice.
So I, the Holy Spirit, the Lord has just called me to work with women and to help women emerge into the best version of themselves, emerge into leadership roles, and be who He has called them to be. So in that program, it goes for 6 months, and then in total it's 12 months. So you're with me for a year.
For a year, nice.
Yeah. So it's a club. It's nothing where you're coming in and you feel rushed and you leave and there's no impact.
And yes, exactly.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah. So it's for like 12 months, and we're working together. We have guest speakers who will come on once a month and share things. There's hot seat where you can ask your questions and you can get coached and get guidance. We have sessions that teaches you how to negotiate if you're a leader, and you may want to negotiate. If you're an entrepreneur, you may want to negotiate. We teach you how to charge your worth and not be afraid. So we do the mindset work around that. So there's like a
ton,
of things that we do in a year, and we meet up on Zoom once a month, and we just kind of do it. There's a workbook, and there's classes and so forth that we dive into the information.
That's beautiful. I love that. And if anybody is watching and they would like to learn more, I would suggest that you follow Victoria Morgan on her social media platforms. Let's just read this one. Her HS story says, "I've worked with Victoria before and was life-changing for me. So grateful." Oh, that's wonderful. You see, you've gotten some testimonies on the show. Hi, ladies. Happy International Women's Day from across the border. Hello, English Forbes. Thank you. English Forbes is from the US. She's always tuning in, very loyal. And she's actually near and dear to me. She's my cousin. So shout out to my cousin. Yeah, for sure. She's very supportive. I know. Family is good.
Yeah.
I just want to maybe just wrap up a little bit by saying that I'm going to just read off that, in honor of International Women's Day, right, and in honor of all the things that women have had to go through in life just to show up and be this bold and courageous and strong woman, no matter what race you are. My earphones are dying. I just don't want this to die on me. Just bear with me for a second.
Okay.
Can I be heard?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Having someone like you is very necessary for a lot of women who need to connect to their purpose and connect to the divine strength that they have within themselves. So, I honor you as a woman in leadership, a woman who is on a mission to help other women find their purpose and lead. And so I want to thank you so much for sharing this with me and sharing it with the audience. And I want to thank the audience as well for tuning in and all your comments. I'm going to ask you a question about you personally. When you're not litigating and pastoring and mentoring and doing all that stuff, what is Victoria doing?
Victoria is taking a bubble bath.
Oh, yes. Let's turn my microphone up. Taking a bubble bath, okay.
It's taking a bubble bath. I enjoy just spending time, unwinding and meditating. I do a lot of meditation. It's my calm. Spending time with my boys and reading I enjoy reading, and I enjoy traveling. But if I'm not doing everything else, chances are I'm just spending some quality time with myself and my boys.
That's the thing. Quality time with yourself is the most valuable time, right?
Mhm.
That way you can serve and be able to be with your family, because you mentioned that as well. So definitely,
Mhm.
I get what you mean. And meditating, praying, whatever it is, that is so necessary in
So
everything.
necessary. So it keeps you calm. You can center yourself. Nothing bothers you. You're unbothered. And it gives you power, empowers you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you so much. The comments are coming. Marcia says, thank you for sharing. Thank you so much for tuning in, Marcia. We're going to read some more comments before we sign off. Carlene Lee says, quality time. Absolutely. Quality time is necessary. Anybody else? They're coming in.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate everyone for watching and for sharing your comments and asking the questions. To reach Victoria, where can everybody reach you if they want to find you?
You can reach me online on my website at www.womanemerge.com. And if you go to the website and you leave your email, you'll get this beautiful little gift, and it's an audio of me talking about purpose and just sharing with you how to tap into your purpose, how to find it. So you can get me there, or you can find me on Instagram at victoria.org.
Nice. Victoria, thank you so much again. I wish you the best, and we'll be connecting because I want to ask you some questions myself. And for the audience, thank you so much for watching, and stay well, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
If you enjoy our programming and want to help support Black entrepreneurship, please donate today. www.businesstakeout.com/donate.